Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Today we're going to be reviewing the Galaxy Nexus for Verizon Wireless. I've been using this phone for the past couple of days, I would say about a week now, and I've been, putting it through its paces, checking battery life, GPS, 4G, 3G, just checking and testing out the performance of the phone, and I'm finally ready to give you an honest review. So here we go. So starting with the phone, for those of you that don't know, the Galaxy Nexus sports a 4.65-inch Super AMOLED HD display with a resolution of 1280 by 720. Powering the phone inside is a 1.2 GHz dual-core TI-OMAP processor. It also has 1 GB of RAM. The battery here on this thing is 1,850 milliamp hours. What else? It has a pen-tile display. For those of you that might be a deal breaker, for me it really wasn't. I tested the screen, and for me it was fine. I know for some people, they're really up in arms about the pen-tile display, but what are you going to do? Looking around the phone here, we have a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. It's able to shoot in 720p resolution, so that's great. We have your speaker grill up on the top there, or your headpiece, I'm sorry. You have your proximity sensors and light sensors there. Down below, if you can't tell, it's just a black slab. We don't have any capacitive buttons or any hardware buttons. All of your navigational buttons are actually going to be software buttons. So, when your phone turns off, there's no buttons there. Now, the little light that you see blinking here, that's an LED notification. That's actually on the bottom. I know a lot of phones have it up on the top. I think it looks pretty sexy, and that's an LED notification there. Looking around the device here, on the left side we have a volume rocker. Down below we have your charging port, which is going to be micro USB based. You have your primary microphone there. To the right of that you have your 3.5mm headset jack. To the right of the phone, on the right side, you can have a 3-pin connector, which is going to be used for accessories and docks and whatnot. To the right of that we have the power button, so you're not going to have it up on the top, you're going to have it on the side. And on a phone with a display this big, it's actually nice to have the power button on the right side and not up on the top, because chances are you're not going to be able to reach all the way to the top, so it's good to have it right here. On the top again, nothing there. On the back of the phone we have a 5 megapixel sensor that's able to record in 720p and 1080p. We have a secondary microphone there for noise cancellation, which is great. We have the Verizon 4G LTE logo there instead of a Google one, so that's what it is. Down here we have the Samsung one, and the back is actually textured. It's not as rough as the one on the Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch. It's a little bit smoother, and that's nice. We have the speaker grill down here on the bottom, and that's pretty much it. So as far as hardware, I found the Galaxy Nexus to feel pretty good in the hand. I also forgot to mention, probably one of the selling points on this phone, has a contour display, so it's going to be a little bit curved here. It's a little contoured there. And for some people that may be something that's good. For some of us, I didn't really mind. I mean, it's kind of nice to have a contour display, but coming from a Nexus S, which had the same thing, it feels good, but other than that, it's not a big deal. So talking about hardware, the hardware feels pretty solid. I would say it's a little bit better than the Epic 4G Touch. More solid materials. It's a little heftier. If you buy that extended battery, it's going to be a tad bit heftier than that. And I think overall it feels good. However, I don't think the 5 megapixel sensor is good. I don't know exactly why they went with the 5 megapixel instead of an 8 megapixel. And the speaker is actually pretty bad as well. So I had to download a third-party application just to be able to get by, just because the speaker is really low. So keep an eye out for that. Now, another thing that's pretty bad is the battery. The 1,850 milliamp hour battery is just not going to cut it. It is a 4G LTE version, so 4G LTE on Verizon just kills your battery. So that's something to keep in mind. I have a spare battery that I've been getting by with. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing is that the back is kind of flimsy when putting it back on. Sometimes it goes on easily, and sometimes it doesn't. My girlfriend actually she messed up her back. Like I think it was the second day she tried to put the back on because she replaced her battery, and she actually cracked one of the little teeth on the battery cover itself. So we went to the Verizon store, and the nice people there just replaced it. So something to keep in mind. And now we're just going to get straight into the software. Now, as far as signal strength, 4G and 3G and GPS. Starting with GPS, I actually took this phone out for a test drive. I took it with me using GPS, and it took a little while for it to actually detect where I was, in the map. But after that, a few times after using the GPS, it would actually latch onto a satellite, so it wasn't really a problem. I know some people had problems with other Samsung phones, but the GPS on this phone, at least for me in my area, I'm in Los Angeles, it worked for me. I had no problems there. As far as 3G and 4G, again, that's going to depend more or less on where you're located. Here in LA, Verizon is pretty good. 3G was actually pretty fast, and 4G was ridiculous. So 4G was probably as fast as my Wi-Fi here at home. So 4G is great. However, if you're using 4G a lot, your battery's going to take a kick in the you-know-where. Yeah, 4G is great. It's great on this phone, and it makes your phone shine, but at the same time it drains your battery, so that's something to keep an eye on. And as far as phone calls, here in my room, pretty much where I work, with Sprint, I'm just constantly roaming, and 3G or any type of signal is just not happening with Sprint. With Verizon and with this phone, I was able to make phone calls and actually have a phone call and have a conversation with people. I wasn't really roaming at all. So as far as signal quality and the radio on the phone, it's pretty solid. So that's just something that I wanted to share, and let's get on with the review. Now, talking about the software running on the Galaxy Nexus and just the phone as a whole, I gotta say that Ice Cream Sandwich Android 4.0 is a completely revamped operating system. If you're coming from Gingerbread, if you're coming from something maybe like Android 2.2 or 2.1, you're going to find yourself just using something that is natively like Android, but that has a lot more polish, and that's just very cohesive. So Android 4.0 is great on this phone. It's starting to become more user-friendly, and that's something that's very important for the Android army, for the Android team, for the Android brethren. It's something that's very nice. I actually got my brother to come over from WebOS and to try out Android for the first time, and so far, he's been pretty okay with the software. I know it's a big leap for some people, but Android 4.0 is becoming a little more polished and user-friendly. Now there's several additions to Android 4.0, such as multitasking. So multitasking now is a big part of Android, more so than it was in the past. I'm going to open up a few different apps here so that you can see what I'm talking about. We'll open up that one, then we'll open up the market. We'll let that load, and then we'll open up maybe settings. And then just for kicks, let's open up apps. And now multitasking, since you do have those software buttons there, you basically just tap that there, and then you're going to have a bunch of different apps that you're running currently in the background there. So if I want to go to market, you tap that, go to market. I could tap this, go into apps, tap that, go into AnyDo. From there, go back to my web browser, and everything just seems to be working pretty well. Multitasking is a great addition to Android 4.0. You also can carry that to the browser. Now the browser got some work as well, got some work done, and now you have you've always had it in Android where you had multi-tab browsing, but now Ice Cream Sandwich, they take it to the next level. So web browsing is very, very, very good. It's a little wonky at times, but overall the browser seems to perform pretty well. I haven't had the need to download a third-party web browser. And something that's very cool is the fact that you can tap that there, and you can have as many. I think I had about 17 different tabs open. So